Well, the 2026 Tundra has been announced in new pretty colors. And I'm going to talk about something that I don't think other reviewers are discussing. And the only thing I care about with the Tundra is, have they fixed the engine issues? I'm going to discuss that here in a minute and what might be coming on the channel, hopefully with an insider interview. I think that's more interesting than all of the updates, but let's get through these quick updates first. As you can see here, they've got the new Wavemaker color. And while it looks good for, I know if I showed this color to my wife, she would say, "Ooh, blue," and she would love it. But it's definitely not a color I would choose on my big truck. I don't know why, I'm not a big fan of the lighter, I don't want to say more feminine colors, but they kind of are. I think it looks decent with the black accents, no chrome. But it's just not my color, not my thing. I'm sure a lot of people out there would love it. That's just my personal take. And you will notice I don't see any tow hooks yet either. I don't think they updated that, so still got to add those aftermarket. And I know some of you will want to say, well, they should have put the V8 back in. I don't think they're ever going to put the V8 back in. It doesn't produce enough power to compete with Ford's EcoBoost and Ram now, so they're just probably never going to go back to that V8, unfortunately. Let's get into some of the good changes, and then we'll talk about what I think about the engine and whether or not they actually fixed these problems. Now, one good change that they did do, they have a couple decent changes in this refresh for 2026. This interior is much nicer. I like the darker leathers. It is the capstone though. I'm never gonna spend, $80,000 on this vehicle. They've got some dark accents there by the glove box, but I do like the overall theme of dark leather. Just wears better, looks better over time, just matches the overall kind of premium. If you're spending that much money, this color and the types of leather and some of the badging in the capstone looks a lot nicer. Does have upgraded wireless charging, which I don't really care about. And then also the fuel tanks are upgraded on the Tundra. And that's a big complaint from TRD John and other people. So they do get larger fuel tanks, I believe, from the SR model up. So that's a nice improvement. And like I said, in the capstone, you get these little capstone badges on the seat. The leather looks a little bit nicer. And here's another close-up of the capstone dark leather kind of contrast and the stitching. Again, they're focusing on, premium customers that are going to spend the bucks. And here's one final picture of the capstone interior that I will probably never purchase because I just won't spend that much money. So this is the full roll-up of all the 2026 updates. Capstone interior updated with shale premium textured leather, isodynamic seats, which are those funky seats that take up a lot of legroom. They actually make sense more in the Tundra than they did the Tacoma. That's where they started out. So the isodynamic seats might be nice in the Tundra TRD Pro for people that, don't have large families, aren't worried about taking up some of that rear seat room, but they probably actually fit. New Wavemaker color we talked about, 3-inch lift kit, and tow tech available on the TRD Rally package. 32.2 gallon fuel tank is standard, as we talked about just a minute ago. Everything else is relatively the same. Now let's talk about the engine updates. There are almost no updates to speak of, but there are a lot of rumors circulating in the forums and other places that I see where a lot of these 2025s that you see, some of them are still dying from the same main bearing issue, but it was really early production. There are some rumors and some timelines. I am trying to get an interview together with an insider. Hopefully that will materialize and I can give you guys or the person doing the interview that has this inside information can give you some idea of whether or not the engine issues are fixed. Let's hope they are, because I think they're going to stick with this V6 turbo platform. They aren't going to change from it. They have to compete on torque and towing with Ford and other manufacturers. So I don't think that's going to change. Are they going to fix the engine? We know that there have been still engine failures from 2022 all the way up through 2025 model. I think they're getting better, so a lot fewer engines are failing, but that could be due to the low mileage. Hopefully we're going to know more about that, and I'm going to have this interview. I'm hoping to have this interview done by the weekend, if not sooner, but I have to nail some people down. And I can't guarantee that I'm going to get the information out there, and it's not a trust me bro thing. It is whether or not people want to sort of stick their neck out there or not. As you might know, it is It's dangerous for people's careers. It's dangerous for their families, all sorts of things for them to speak up. Even if I'm masking their voice or not showing their face, it's not always a foolproof way to protect their identity. So I understand that people don't want to come forward, but there's some really good news for people that are interested in buying the Tundra. In my opinion, it's good news. Time will tell if this engine is truly fixed, but I think there's a chance that 2026 and forward, we're not going to see the failures that we saw previously. I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to let this other person hopefully speak to the details. Thanks for watching. Till next time.